And welcome to another exciting episode of The Energy That Surrounds Us. I'm your host, Michael, and as I mentioned last week, Carla is off handling her paranormal team business right now. So we wish her well and hope she returns, and if not, that her team has great success. With that being said, I am joined tonight by two very awesome paranormal investigators that I had the joy and pleasure of investigating with in March at the Myrtles Plantation. So, welcome to George and Annette.
Thank you.
Woo! There we go.
Yeah. So, before I get started, though, with you, George, I'm going to take a moment to take host privileges and say, Annette, we actually on Friday got to tour the Gothic Jail. Thanks to you.
That place is pretty cool, isn't it?
That was very cool. Have you been there, George?
No.
Oh, wow.
No, not at all. I don't know where it is. Where's it at?
It's in DeRidder, Louisiana.
Okay. No, I've never been there. Like I said, I never even heard of it. So that's someplace I have to look up.
Yeah, that is definitely a place I would put on the list because we were doing just a tour and we were getting activity during the tour. So I can only imagine what you'd get during the investigation.
Right.
It's not too far, just over the border into Louisiana. It's not very far from Texas.
Okay, like down by Orange or where? Just like going on 10 or?
Well, when I went through Jasper. I don't know if you know where Jasper is.
No, I have to look it up. But
let me look it up for you because remember I'm coming from the north, but
Jasper is south of Nacogdoches in the Kilgore area.
Like I went through Lufkin.
Okay. Well, I will definitely have to look it up. I would not mind going to check it out if it's that crazy. I like crazy.
We do.
I don't know if Annette, you were there, but one of the things that we had happen there was Tony got grabbed in a most peculiar place, and she turned to look at us and was like, "What's going on?" And Carla and I were like, "It wasn't us." So that just tells you the level of activity there. That was on a tour.
Nice.
It's a beautiful building too. Just
it is.
Paranormal activity aside, it's beautiful.
I was looking it up. It's Gothic archival, I think is what they call it, or revival architecture.
Yeah.
That's the word.
Nice. Gothic revival. That'd be a good name of a band, I think. You know.
Yeah.
That sounds awesome.
The unique thing about the jail, I mean, I haven't been to a lot of jails per se, but they had a spiral staircase in the center that led to the gallows. They were actually inside the jail.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I would. I'd definitely like to go. I'm looking for places to go. I'm always down to go investigate something somewhere at some point in time. Always looking for it.
Well, not to shamelessly plug somebody that's on our show, but I heard a rumor that somebody's going to be there on August 5th.
Oh, I wonder who that
is. If you want to go, there's still a few spots left. Yeah.
And where would I find that at? That information at?
On my group page. Yeah.
Nice. Okay.
And the spiral staircase that he's talking about, it's really cool looking. When you get to the top floor, you can't get all the way up there because the railing they said isn't stable. but it's kind of cool when you're at the bottom and you look straight up right into the noose, the hangman's noose that's hanging there. It's just
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, and there was 2 hangings there.
There were a couple at least. Well, I think there might have been more, but I know 2 of them were quite notorious and infamous for the hangings themselves. Yeah.
Nice.
So yeah, so what was some of the activity you were getting there, Annette?
Definitely had a lot of the feeling of being watched. I can feel energies around me a lot, and definitely when we were upstairs on the 2nd floor, when we're going outside to see the roof and the architecture on the outside,
Right.
that right inside that doorway, I felt like there was something standing there as we were coming in and out. It was just one of those things that I couldn't quite put my finger on who it was or what it was, but it was there. Definitely unmistakable. Yeah.
Definitely. And I think when I was in the women's section, that was just one area off of the spiral staircase. I think I was like hearing noises, like footsteps or somebody moving something, and it's like there's nothing to move in this building. It's like anything that's not bolted down has pretty much been removed.
Yeah.
So that definitely makes you sit there and have to go, what just happened?
Yeah,
So-
there was one place where we thought we saw a figure or a shadow like around the corner. I don't remember if it was the women's section, but I know a couple of us saw something. We just weren't sure what it was.
So do the doors and stuff still work? Like the are all the doors just individually, like they individually lock? And some places have that crank and all the doors open or all the doors closed. Is it something like that, or how old is the jail, if you don't mind me asking?
It was built in the 1912 time frame, and I believe, if memory serves right, I don't think any of the doors are cranked. I think they're just individual door that leads to another door that leads to the area.
Right.
Yeah, they didn't have really like individual cells as much as just cell blocks.
Okay.
Yeah, you had bunk beds, so there was no private cells. Not that we saw, at least.
Yeah, there must have been maybe upstairs or something. I don't know, but yeah, I mean it was just cell blocks. So, like he said, it was a door to a door into the block, basically.
Now, there was a fun fact that she pointed out to us is the women's cells were in the front of the building. So they ended up having to put curtains up because people would stand and line up in the street when it came time for the women to go to bed or wake up, and were caught just sitting there gaping in, getting a free show. So they ended up putting curtains up so that the women could have their privacy.
They also, as you recall, had built out this balcony so that the women couldn't really see into the street anymore either.
Right.
Because I guess they were trying to get attention. I don't know if they would like throw stuff up at the window. I don't know. But yeah, they definitely had to work at keeping the women out of view of the street and vice versa.
And I think, if memory serves right, didn't she say too that they moved their bunk beds further in away from the windows so that they wouldn't be tempted to go to the windows?
Yeah. And do you remember the line where it showed where they had been? I mean, where they had moved the bunks. So keep in mind the cell blocks had, I think it was like 2 almost like picnic style tables, but they were bolted down.
Right.
And then they had 1 or 2 bathrooms in the corner that are wide open. Of course, no privacy. But when they moved the beds in, I mean, you had to turn sideways to walk between them and the tables.
Yeah.
Wow.
They did not give the women any room to like congregate. It was like you got out of bed, you crawled onto the table to get to the bathroom. There was like no room to walk, really.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, it was jail. I mean, it was not a Club Med. You know what I mean?
But it was all because of the women getting attention from the street. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Because the guys were on the sides and they were like 2 rows of bunks with room to walk around. It was like they had room to stretch. It was like,
But nobody wanted to see them, apparently.
well, and the interesting thing was every section had their own private bathroom. It's like the guys' cells on the left had their own private bathroom in the corner. You had a shower and the necessity of the toilet. The women had theirs in the back, and then the other side had their own. So you would not get up, and you would have no reason to leave your cell area for any reason whatsoever.
That's true. So imagine being in that tiny little area 24 hours a day.
And
Yeah.
imagine no AC. That would be. I mean, I don't know how it was there when y'all were there, but I don't think they had a lot of AC in 1913.
There was no AC.
Right. I mean, can you imagine? And if I don't know if the place has windows or anything like that, but if they wouldn't open a window, imagine how stuffy that is. And then you get the one guy that doesn't want to bathe. Woo!
And imagine, in the summertime in Louisiana.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
I would like talk about a poster of how do you keep kids out of jail. Just be like, show them a picture and go, this is where you're gonna be 24/7 with no AC. And I venture to say a lot of criminals would probably have been like, no thanks, I think I'm gonna go straight now.
Yeah.
Right. And hopefully, I'm going to say this. I'm going to go and say this. Hopefully, nobody passes gas. That's all. Because it would be stagnant and it would be there a while. That's
Actually, I could do you one worse, George. Imagine if somebody ate something that didn't agree with them.
Ooh. They got the bubble guts?
Summer. In the summertime. Oh.
No, thank you.
Man. I imagine there was a lot of stuff being eaten that didn't agree with anybody, man, because I'm sure the food wasn't, three Michelin stars or whatever,
Probably not even a half Michelin star.
Right. Man. I would like to go there. I really would. I'll go check it out.
Yeah, it's worth checking out. It's the Gothic Jail, they call it.
We only have access till 2 a.m. though, so we'll have to get hotel rooms or Airbnb or something. That I'm working on that part, but we only have it till 2 a.m.
I'm still looking forward to maybe going to visit that other place. I think I told you about it. That was it Rocky Mountain State Penitentiary? I think it was
Brushy Mountain.
Brushy Mountain. Yes,
that place is a trip I've seen on TV.
Right, and you know what? For some reason, that place is just like, come to me. Investigate.
I'll tell you this, George. If you go when the weather is good, I'd probably go with you.
Nice. Okay, I have to check that out.
Another one is Moundsville in West Virginia.
Right.
I'm not sure I've heard of that one.
Haven't done that one yet. It's supposed to be pretty good.
Well, I imagine any prison, whether it's state or federal, has got stuff that happens there.
Yeah.
I mean, I've known, without giving too much away, like I've known people that work here in prisons here in Texas, and they've told me all kinds of just ugly, nasty stories. And I imagine that stuff just stays around, It just hangs around in it. Can you imagine it's just floating inside those walls?
Well, that's crazy. If you know of anyone who's really an angry, bitter, toxic person, you walk away feeling like crap, right? So imagine, like you said, it's there all the time, permeating. That's got to be really heavy to work in all the time, much less live in it as an inmate.
Yeah, I was sitting there thinking, as an inmate, if you go in there for like a petty crime and you're in the same area as people who have committed, more higher degree crimes, you're going to be sitting there pulling that in, and you are not going to be leaving there with okay, I did my time, I'm good to go now. It's going to be like, you're going to be a totally different person, and probably not for the better.
Right. Yeah.
I was told a story about this guy who was supposedly the meanest man in Texas. I mean, this guy, when it was time for them to, he was on death row. When it was time for them to lethal injection or electric chair, whatever they did, he would kill somebody, so he would have another case that he would have to go to, and he continued to do that until they told him he needs to be by himself at all times until it's done. And like he would, they told them, no, like I said, this is all secondhand. That when they brought him off the truck, they asked him, "You want to do this easy? You want to do this hard?" And he's like, "I got to do it hard, boss." So he said, all the way into the cell, got him in. So it's like, I mean, we can do this easy, we can do it hard. It's like, got to do it hard, boss.
Wow.
They're throwing down. Apparently, there must have been about 5-on-1, and whew, that's all I'm saying.
Dang.
Those are the days you'd like to play a mind trick on them and be like, "Oh, you want the hard way? Okay, we'll just handcuff you here and walk you in."
Right.
And be like, "Why is this the hard way? Because it's really hard for you not to attack us right now, isn't it?" It was easy for you to attack us the other way, so we got smart.
Well, I mean, like I said, I've heard stories. I'm not saying anything other than that, but I think any jail would just hold that energy. And especially they used to make them out of what's that limestone?
Adobe.
A lot of adobe lime, but that limestone they would have limestone walls.
Yeah.
And that stuff supposedly holds that energy.
That's what I've read. A bunch of places that it holds a lot of stuff in it. So yeah.
Yeah, even brick.
Yeah.
Another good jail is the one in Cold Spring that we did. What was it, a couple months ago? That's another one. I'm going to set that up again too. That's in Cold Spring. It's like the Houston area.
Houston, okay.
Now, why is everything got to be so far?
I know, man. Everything's just so far. But that one, I took some motion sensors, and we heard one of them upstairs, only it wasn't upstairs, it was downstairs.
Really?
So we weren't quite sure how the sound was mimicked upstairs.
Okay, wow. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it was creepy because we looked at each other like, wait, that can't be, because it was downstairs, whatever. That's a good. That one is the place. It has the school, the post office, train depot, and the jail. So it's got. Yeah, we had access to all, but only the jail's air conditioned. So we need to make sure we do it in the fall or spring, because the other buildings are not.
Okay.
Does it have electricity?
They do.
Well, then you could make the jail the sleeping area.
Yeah. So that's another good jail if you're interested in jails. I'll be doing that eventually. I just haven't put it on the calendar yet.
Cool.
Yeah, that'll be fun. So, going back to the March investigation, the next place we all met up at was the Great Cemetery, where we actually had some activity.
That was a beautiful cemetery. Oh my gosh.
It was very beautiful, and it was very calm, very peaceful. And I've said it before on our show, this is one of the only. I mean, this is the only cemetery. I stood there and I looked around and I thought, I think I'd like to be buried here. You know, it was such a
Yeah.
nice, calm feeling. You got what's this, the Spanish moss hanging from the tree. It was beautiful, beautiful. You know, I mean, I was like, yeah, maybe I'd like to be buried here when I die. Who knows? You know,
Big too. It was bigger than I thought when we first got there.
Yeah,
because it went
and
back.
it was interesting how they used the ravine to be the border, and they would place the stones only so far from the ravine. So they were obviously planning ahead of flooding or possible landslide so that the loved ones didn't go into the creek bed, that they stayed where they were.
That would be
Yeah,
phenomenal.
that would be not cool.
But the really cool thing there, though, that was scratching my head until Annette, I think it was you that came up with the answer to it, was I had a cat cry out one time when we were over by that one cemetery mausoleum that had the door on one side and the other side was solid. And we all were like, we didn't see a cat. And why would there be a cat crying out one time? And then I think it was you that said you looked at the in the records and they had a pet cemetery nearby.
Oh, that wasn't me. Someone else mentioned it. I didn't mention it.
Oh,
But yeah,
okay.
but I did hear something about that. Yeah. Yeah. So that, I mean, that could be where that came from.
I know that adds a whole nother level to the investigations of, we always assume it's quote human spirit, and we never consider the animal spirits when we're out there.
Well,
Very true.
like I've got an animal spirit that I got on an investigation where it was like, you could hear its paws on the wooden floor, like walking.
Right.
And I got somebody with a very southern voice, and he's like, Armo, what you doing in here, boy? Like talking like a man would talk to a dog with it in his southern voice,
Right.
and you can hear the nails on the wooden floor. It was amazing. So yeah, I think that's probably the only time I ever got an animal, but it was very cool.
Yeah, I mean, it threw me off because I was like, for a few days to probably a week, I was constantly going to you guys and going, did you guys see the cat? Did you see any cats out there? Because I was like, there was no way. I was like, I caught this one sound that was definitely a cat, but
We never saw one.
yeah, there was no cats there.
Wasn't
And
the
so
pet cemetery like further at the back beyond where we were with that mausoleum type thing we were at?
actually, it was right to our left
Oh,
against the church.
oh
That's
really?
what
Oh,
was so like. I was like, I got chills when I heard that. I was like, because it was like, because if you remember when you and I were there and we didn't react to the sound, but on the video, I happened to turn, like I was looking to my left and going, like, what was that kind of reaction? But we never said what was that or heard it. And it was like the wildest thing that's the direction, if I kept going, was the pet cemetery.
now that mausoleum thing was kind of cool. I mean, just because it had that door and you could see into it, and man, I wanted to crawl into it, but then it's like I'm not going to desecrate, you
I
know.
know, and I kept telling you don't do it because you may not be able to get out.
But oh man, to have a drone would have been awesome. Fly it
Oh
in
yeah.
there.
Oh yeah.
Because when I was doing video and stuff, I mean, our voices would echo deep within it, so there was some depth to it for it to echo like that.
I'm also wondering if it went down.
I don't know. I tried to do some research on it, and I found one story, but I don't know if it's true. And you might have seen it or read it, but the story is that a man buried his wife in there, and he built it like he had a whole room built so that he could have a rocking chair down there to sit with her. And that's why it is the way it is. But I don't know if that's has any truth to it or not. But I couldn't find
that was actually another one. That one was, we all thought it was a witch's tomb because of the way it was humped over with the brick. That was further over. And that one, I know which one you're talking about. Was that one you would go down the stairs, and they said that there was a story of a man kept wanting to keep vigil over his wife, and so he would sit in a rocking chair and keep her company, even though she was dead and in a coffin. But still, it's a beautiful sentiment. And the other story was that the Confederates hid out in there and got caught.
Yeah, I just couldn't find anything on an official, like, historical commission website or any government website. I could find anything truly factual that I could find. It was all basically stories, so I don't know. But it's a cool thing to see. I mean,
yeah,
it looked like on the backside, like it's breaking. Remember how it was kind of like starting to split, and they were trying to. They had like some kind of rebar holding up part of it.
Yeah. It was like, if it was a witch's tomb, it's like the witch is broken out kind of look to it.
Yeah. It was, and on that backside opposite the door, it had, I guess it was like brick or some kind of rock, and it was like it was kind of curved. So I don't know if it was like someone's grave was under there. It was like a walkway up to it. I couldn't really tell what it was. I mean, there's no markings on it telling you who it was, dates, anything. So
the one that you and I were checking out, that you wanted, the other one that you wanted to go into where we heard the cat, was the one that you said you looked it up, and we kept looking at all the tombstones around because the wife was supposed to be buried around it, and we could never find the wife. It was like, there's a guy, there's a guy, there's a guy. Trying about a spots here. Where is she?
A lot of mystery around that one.
Yeah. The one headstone that I remember, I remember this because it was just a military. He was a military man. He was a soldier, but on the headstone from the soldier was Civil War looking. Like the rifle was a musket. He had his I guess they call it a haversack or some sort of satchel, and then he had his and it's all like I said, Civil War era. So I was like, well, that's cool. I mean, I also think there was a random squirrel or two carved on it for some odd reason. But there is some very cool stuff in that cemetery. Did y'all get any EVPs out there?
Other than the cat, I didn't really catch much.
I didn't run any audio while I was out there.
No, I got a couple of EVPs. I was sitting at the front of the church, and I got a couple, but I didn't even remember what they said. And then I went over to the right of the church. Maddie and her cousins were there, and I walked over there, and we were doing an EVP session, and I got something there. I just don't remember. Like I said, there was so much stuff. I got so much stuff at that place that I don't remember everything that I got.
Yeah.
Well, they're in the Myrtles.
Yeah.
Maddie's
one last thing though.
At the Myrtles.
Yeah. One last thing though about the Gray Cemetery that caught my interest too. I didn't even think about it. Kept seeing the name Barlow.
Oh yeah.
Clyde's family was over there, and they were like, "Oh, it's the Barrows. That's it."
Oh, Barrows.
And so it was like, wow, who would have thought, going to a random cemetery, you'd run into Clyde from Bonnie and Clyde's family. And
Right.
It's like, wow.
Yeah, it was I was looking for that to see if I had that picture of that headstone, and I do. I don't know if y'all could see it, but you can see the rifle. I don't know. I don't know if y'all could see it. You can see the rifle.
That's cool. That's
Oh,
really
that
cool.
is cool.
And there's a I think that little round thing was a canteen, and then
Canteen?
yeah, I think so. And then on one side there was his satchel. This, I guess it would say, I don't know if it was south or north, but his last name was Bowman, and he died in what was it, 1906. So he didn't die during the war, but he died way after it.
Right. I can tell you what that satchel is. That's where they kept the powder little cartridges and the rounds.
Oh.
Because if you ever seen any, like, quote, documentary, I mean, I don't know how realistic, but the photos you would see that were taken during the age, you would see them reaching in there, and they'd have the paper that they would tear.
And then pour it in.
And the ball was in there too, and so it was like that's where they kept their ammunition, and you would see them lift it up when they were crossing the creek. So it was like, yeah, they had to keep it dry.
Yeah, I remember. I remember the little bags. I mean, the little round things, and they would tear the top and pour it. So it was pre-measured. They put the cotton, boom, slam it down. Then they put the ball in. Yeah, man, I remember. Yeah, that's where they kept all that stuff. I think is that haversack or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, that place was cool. I enjoyed that place.
That was. And now to the coup de grace, the Myrtles Plantation.
I was impressed with the changes from the last time I had been there. It looked really nice. I think it had been probably 5 or 6 years since my last visit. So it had been a while.
Yeah, it was my first time, so I was like, I heard about the changes, but it was really nicely laid out. The only thing I would say for anyone who spends the night in the house, don't wear restrictive clothing to go to sleep because it is a challenge to get in and out of those beds.
Oh, those beds were crazy. They were super crazy, man. Okay, I'm gonna say this, man. Those beds creeped me out because I'm not used to having that cloth above.
Oh, the canopy.
Yeah, the princess canopy.
I'm looking up, and when you see people lay down in movies, they look up and something kind of crawls down from there, right. And I'm like, I will punch you. I will punch you. I will punch you if you come out of that thing.
Well, it wasn't helping that you were hearing voices too.
Oh, yeah, and then there were voices talking in my room. And I was like, I was asleep and I heard a man and a woman talking. And I'm like, shut up. I got to drive tomorrow.
Were you by yourself in that room?
I was by myself.
That's what I thought. Yeah.
Yeah, I was in the adjoining room.
Yeah, exactly. Mike was in the room next to me. Then right across from me, the doll room was where Maddie and Adam, and then that red room, whatever, I don't know what it was called. That's where the girls were sleeping.
Because they had the doll room originally, right? And they switched because they didn't want to be in the doll room.
Well, the story of the closet is, I think, why they really switched, because It was Death Walkers, I think, Nick Ross news show where he was there, and the lady goes, "Yeah, this is the closet where the spirit of a child or a man is found, and sometimes comes out," and it's like, oh man, that would just creep us out. But the one thing that got me though was while we were all in the red room, I'm not sure if you were in there at this time, Annette, but George and I were sitting by the door while they were doing flashlight experiment,
Yeah.
and it was like a door from outside open and closed.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I don't
Well,
think I was there for
yeah.
that.
Well, and for those of you who don't know, we all got keys, and you had to lock your own room. You had to always make sure your room was locked. Well, I mean, you didn't have to because we knew everybody in there. But it was just if you were just staying in a room and there were strangers in other rooms, yeah, you would have to keep your room locked. I went ahead and I locked my room, and I had my voice recorder going. And when I went in there, the closet was open about this much, and it was not open when I left. And I was in. I walked in. I'm like, well, that's odd. So I opened the closet and I looked, and there's paintings of creepy kids in there. And I'm like, oh hell no! I'm like,
Yeah.
I close it and I move the chair over and I put my pillows on it and I'm like, I put my backpack and I'm like, y'all gonna have to get out of that room to get at me, man.
It was so nice having the entire house just for us. That's the best way to do it. It really is.
It was, and at the same time, it was a little frustrating because you had the key to one side, we had the key to the other side, so we were constantly looking for each other where we had to go into either side. It was
I'm surprised they don't have that door in the middle open. I don't understand why that you can't get through.
Yeah.
But it was that way before too. It's always been that way. The last 2 times that was that way. So there's something to that. But
maybe they used to take tours upstairs and they blocked it off so nobody would sneak into a room.
Maybe, but it's just when you have the whole house like we did, it'd be nice to not have to go all the way downstairs and into the other door to go back up.
Right.
Not to mention just for anyone who doesn't want to be by themselves, really, because
you were.
Yeah, we were downstairs that one by ourselves. Yeah.
And what's funny is when you look at the layout, you weren't even on the part of the house we were attached to. It was like your room was catty cornered, so it's like,
yeah,
we're all on one side, then there's the common area, and then there was you. And so it was like, man, if we needed each other, it was like no way to get to it.
I was going to be SOL, that's for sure.
You know what I liked about that was it led right out to the porch.
Mm-hmm.
I really did like that porch, man.
Yeah.
With the rocking chairs. Oh yeah, I was. And I got a great EVP out there.
Oh really?
Yeah, I was.
I didn't know that.
I was sitting out there by myself. Everybody was up on the side, on the side with the mirror and the staircase that goes. And then I was out there by myself, and I wasn't supposed to smoke, but I lit my pipe, and I was like, excuse me, sir, is there anybody out here who'd like to talk? And, and just kind of get that whole, kind of Southern thing going. And I said, this was before you came out, Mike, because Mike was upstairs on the other side.
And that's a great trigger to go out there and smoke a pipe. It's a perfect trigger.
Yeah, right, exactly. So that's why I like smoking my, and it was a corncob pipe because I smoke a corncob pipe naturally. So I'm asking, is there anybody out here who would like to talk to me? Can you tell me your name? And really, really clear. I mean, this thing was so clear. You hear somebody go, Jason, and I was like, Wow. Okay, so there was a Jason there. Don't know who he was, but I got a Jason.
I wonder
Uh,
who Jason is, huh?
yeah, I don't know, but apparently Jason and me are on first name basis now.
I mean, that's not even like a traditionally Southern type of name, antebellum
Right.
type of name.
I
So,
know. It's like that seems more like maybe a soldier that went by, maybe.
hmm,
Who
interesting.
knows? But
But
it was good.
yeah, the way they did those grounds was really cool. And
Beautiful.
so, gotta ask this just because the mirror that was in the common area. What was your all's take on that mirror and the stories behind it? Do you guys remember which one I'm talking about?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I'll let you go, Nat.
I don't know. I mean, it's an old mirror. I don't know. Anything reflective. I just have to take it with a grain of salt. And an old mirror, because you could see how old it was in the mirror. I don't know. I don't know. I'm not saying yay or nay, but I don't know. I didn't particularly get anything in the mirror when I was down there, but and I don't recall in my previous visits getting really anything around the mirror. Did
I
you?
I didn't feel anything to do with that mirror. I didn't. And there was a doll in front of the mirror. Didn't feel anything with that doll either. I took some pictures, and you could tell how like I got a picture of you, Mike, standing in front of it, and
Yeah.
your arm was blurry, but that could have just been the picture, But then I took a picture of Maddie's cousin, and her face was blurry, but it was in the same place that your arm was. So honestly,
Hmm.
I can't put, I just cannot put a lot of faith in that mirror. As far as it, and people say they see faces, but you also got to remember that reflective surface on the back is flaking off. I don't know what
Yeah.
it is. It's flaking off, and all a mirror is without the reflectix is a glass.
Right.
So you could be matrixing. I don't know. I've never seen anything that has convinced me 100%
Yeah.
that the mirror is haunted.
I
Seeing
agree.
what got to me was when she goes, well, it's not the original mirror. They've replaced the mirror, but every time it's the same place. So my mind goes and says, well, either the spirit doesn't like that spot, which is really odd and random, or there's something in the wall there that's affecting the glass because it's just so awkward that it's the same thing every mirror they put there because they said this isn't the original. They've replaced the mirrors, but that always appears in the same spot. And that to me started me thinking, going, I don't think that would be spirit because why would the spirit want the same spot on every mirror you put up there? That doesn't make any sense.
Right.
There has to be something else that does that.
Yeah.
I just don't know what.
I
But
agree.
the other thing that though from the common areas that got me was remember the fleur de lis and everything on the walls that they said were supposed to ward to keep things out or in.
Oh
I
yeah.
was like,
Yeah, yeah.
why would you want to keep something in? That doesn't make any sense to me.
Right. Right. Yeah, man. I'm like, no, no, no. You got to go. Ain't no holding you here. You got to go.
I know. I'm like, I'm sitting there thinking, I get the idea of keeping the bad spirits out, but that's why you put it on the outside and you don't put it on the door because the door opens.
Right.
You would put it on the frame or maybe the windows, trim or somewhere. But it just was confusing me why you would have it only on the inside, because I'm sitting here thinking anything that comes in, you are now keeping in and it can't leave. So, how many things have come in now that you guys are responsible for and are keeping there?
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, apparently, Jason was outside, so maybe he couldn't get in. I don't know. Maybe he wants in, but he couldn't get in. I don't know.
I know.
I wanna show y'all if y'all can. I don't know if y'all be able to see this, but this is the blurriness in the mirror of Maddie's. Well, first off, let me clean all my fingerprints off of it. But this is the blurriness. I don't know if
That's
you can see
weird.
that's the blurriness of when I took the picture.
You
I don't
know,
know.
the fact that everything else is perfectly clear would lead me to say that very well could be a spirit, crossing in front of her. But at the same time, like you're saying, it could be matrixing, and that could be where the flash was,
Right.
and it just slightly moved and it couldn't adjust fast enough. And that's why everything else is stationary, but that's not.
Well, when
Right.
you factor in the windows and the mirrors and the other things that are reflective, I mean, it can play with light all kinds of different ways.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Light can bend. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm just
The
who knows?
interesting thing to do would be is when we all go back, if we all go back
There's
and
no
we have
if, it's
access
when.
to the
It's
house. Well, I'm
when.
meaning like spending the night. If we all stay in the house, or if we try the cabins or the other area, if we can get in there to that common area, try to duplicate, like you're saying, you saw my arm there blurred out. If
Yes.
we experiment and take like 6 different photographs from different angles and it always blurs out, then we know it's something to do with the mirror. But if it only blurs out that one spot, then it
Yeah.
could be something.
Now, wasn't
Yeah.
there also activity on the stairs?
They would say you could see somebody on the stairs in the mirror, but I was kind of discounting that
Yeah.
because the mirror's reflecting the stairs and somebody could have been coming down the stairs. You take a photo because you don't realize someone's coming down and go, oh, there's a kid on the stairs. Well, yeah, there is. But it doesn't mean it's a ghost kid. It just, there's too
Yeah.
much of a chance of somebody walking down that you don't know about.
I did think it was funny how so many people that we talked to outside couldn't believe we were staying the whole night in the house. They were so afraid of just going into the house. They're like, "Oh my
Right.
God, you're staying in the house?" I'm like, "Well, yeah, that's why we came all this way."
Yeah.
Right. I mean, it's yeah. There was a guy, a husband and wife that were out there, and they're like, it was after we were leaving. We were getting ready to leave, and she's like, "Did y'all stay the night?" And I said, "Yeah." I said, "We stayed," and she was like, "Where did y'all stay?" I said, "We stayed in the house." I said, "Upstairs," the husband automatically was like, "Nope, no,
Not
no." And
doing
she, yeah, and she was just like, "Oh, he's just a big chicken." I'm like, "Damn, your wife is calling you out, man. Here's the bus. Who are you? Fuck, fuck, fuck."
Yeah.
It's damn your wife. But
Well, even those two couples before when we got there, remember they were out there waiting for a table at the restaurant. They were tripping pretty
right.
hard on us and
Yeah.
renting the house and staying there. That they were all tripping really hard on that.
It's
That
like,
and
what can I say? We're just badass,
yeah, and it was kind of cracking me up while we're going through, doing the tour of the house. How some of the people were like, she would say, "Oh, oh, they think, they saw somebody here." everybody like shoot away from that spot. So they turned and I was like taking a picture of it. I was like, why did you get out of the photo?
That's funny.
But yeah, it was like, it kind of cracks me up how some people are like, oh, I don't want to be in the ghost spot. It's like,
That's
what
funny.
makes you think that's the spot today?
I think next time we go, in addition to renting the house, we should get the caretaker's cottage.
That'd be awesome.
That
Yeah.
would be.
The last time I was in there, it had bunk beds, so you could sleep more than one person in there. But I don't know if it still is set up the same way. But I think we should do that one too next time.
Well,
That or maybe some of the cabins that are around that nice pond that they have.
Well, you know, the first time I went, it was called the Cocoa House. I guess it's still back there, but it's back beyond there. And we had some crazy stuff in that house. And I don't remember the history on it right off. But yeah, I mean, any of that property has potential.
oh yeah. I believe that 100%.
And I will say this for the plantation, that gazebo in the middle of the pond just tripped me out because I was like, this is just it's like I'm in a gazebo, but I'm in the middle of the water. Yeah, we were just hearing all kinds of animals, and it's like,
Yeah.
is that a frog? What is that? It's like, it was so pitch black, you could not make out anything in there. And then we all turned and there's a duck house. And we're all like, look at the little cottage.
It was such a great trip. It really was.
Yeah.
It was amazing. I will say this about the house. If whoever goes, if you do stay in the house, just know the house is beautiful, but she is an old lady and she is showing her she like the floor is uneven. I mean, like wavy, but as far as the stay there, it's phenomenal. That house is amazing to me. I mean,
okay, I'm gonna say it. I really enjoyed the breakfast.
Breakfast was nice.
I did not eat the breakfast because I was not up to eat.
You know, before the kitchen burned down, they had it was like a buffet style thing, and it was just like, you know, biscuits and gravy. I mean, it was good. It wasn't, you know, but the breakfast I have now is so much better. I mean, oh my goodness, that was great.
I didn't
You
even
missed out, George.
and you know, and I'm okay. I bought I will say this though, that coffee, the coffee house that they have, I mean, that's some good coffee. I mean, I really enjoyed that coffee. And it's funny to say that like it's coffee, but it's not. It was just, I don't know if it was the coffee because it was coffee at the Myrtles Plantation or if it was just that phenomenal. And then they had the little sweets and stuff like that, and it was like, oh man, this place is awesome. And just, people watching, because I mean, you're staying in the house, but there are people coming to visit all day long to look at the grounds, to look at the, going through the house, doing the tour, and all that stuff. But just sitting there, people watching, and it was an amazing great time. It was a great time.
George, you bring that up, and there were, like you said, so many people, but yet the people I talked to, every single one of them was afraid to stay the night there. They were just there driving through.
Yes, they were afraid.
Yeah, so Paula, we're talking about the Myrtles Plantation in Louisiana, St. Francisville, I believe.
Yeah.
But like you, George, I feel like I gotta do a public service announcement for someone spending the night. If you are tall, do not rent the winter's room. The bathroom, the commode and sink are okay, but the bathtub, there is no way you can use that bathtub unless you are like 3 feet or less. I'm like, I'm sorry. I mean, everything else was great, but that shower has a pitched roof right on top of it. And so I'm like, unless you like sitting down and taking a bath / shower, then that's not the room for you.
I'll
I
tell you
couldn't
what.
do it. At
I
5'11", I couldn't do it.
Yeah, I remember when I showed it to George, and George was like, "What?"
I was thinking. All of a sudden, what came to my mind were those little orange people from the what was it? Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory.
Yeah,
You
the
know,
Oompa Loompas.
Oompa Loompas. That's what came to mind. Like, there's an Oompa Loompa bathroom right here, man.
And George said the funniest thing to me because he got going. I said, "George, look at this," and he looks. He's like, he kind of gasped, and he looks at me with a straight face and goes, "I'll let you use my shower in the morning if you want."
Yeah.
I was like, "Thanks." But it's funny because it's like you don't think about that, but yeah, I was like, I even stood in there and I was like, God, this would be so uncomfortable to try and shower in.
Well, and for those
Right.
who are watching but have never stayed, the rooms are beautiful.
They are.
They really, it's not, I mean, it may be an old place, but it's really beautiful and nice to stay in.
Yes, it is. It is beautiful. It exceeded expectations, and I stayed in the rough and sterling room, which has that. Those rooms, the one that Maddie and Adam stayed in, the room that I stayed in, they had bathrooms at the end. Like, you had to leave the room to go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
But they were not for Oompa Loompas. they were for regular size.
You know,
And
if memory serves right, the red room, did it have its own bathroom or did they share the bathroom?
I think
no,
every room had their own, but some of them it was outside in the hallway.
yeah,
Right?
Okay.
That's what I remembered.
So maybe the
and there's
red one was in the corner.
maybe
Maybe
because
I
that's another thing was I got you get a key to your own bathroom. So if you want to leave your personal things in there, you can leave them in there while you're there.
That's nice.
No,
Yeah.
nobody, not just anybody, can walk in there.
The one
I
we
will
were
say
in, I
this
think
too for the romance people: don't use the Winters room because if you want a romantic bath, it ain't happening, folks. It was a small bath.
I think we were in the Bradford suite, which is the one downstairs, and it was nice. It had a nice sitting
Yeah.
room and everything, but it had a shower. It didn't have a tub at all. So yeah, no romance happening there, I guess.
To be honest, Annette, I would say your room was like a European hotel. Look, it had this nice fireplace in it, a nice sitting area,
It was gorgeous.
the bedroom, the bathroom. I was like, man, she lucked out.
I was
want
lucky.
your
That was
room.
the last key left over. I'm like, that's mine. Yeehaw.
I know.
I want your room next time I go. That's the room I want, man. I really when you walk in and it was very nice. Yeah, it was made up real nice, and it was the fact that it was right there off of the porch. I kind of dug it. You know, I kind of dug that it was right there off the porch. But after a certain time, everybody leaves. Only the people that are staying there are there. And if you want to eat at that restaurant, I don't remember the name of it, you better make reservations early because
1796 or something.
Something like that. Yeah.
I remember, yeah, because we tried to go eat there, and they're like, no, we don't have any room.
Availability.
They couldn't accommodate all of us. Yeah.
No. And so we ate pizza out on the veranda and had a great time.
That was fun.
Yeah.
Is that what it's called? A veranda?
It was fun having the pizza outside.
Just hanging out. That was fun. So, Mike, do you have another trip planned out there anytime soon? Or George, either one of you?
I don't have a trip planned to Louisiana until September, October with the Parafest, or not Parafest, Beer Fest,
Beer Fest,
Fair
yeah.
Unity 2023 in New Orleans. But until then, my excursions are pretty much like Fort Walters. I'll be doing an investigation there, going to the Dillon Depot in July, and August, I'm not sure where I'm going yet.
Well, we definitely need to do Myrtles again. That was good.
Yeah.
Dude,
I've been trying to talk my family into going. Like, we all need to go and we all need to rent the house. And not that my family are paranormal investigators. So it's not even about that. It's just a very relaxing, beautiful place.
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
The weather was perfect. It was spot on. And
You know, that's
even the
the
little
thing is, I was going to say, like you're saying, with taking your family, the Myrtles, you could to be investigating on one side and the family doing whatever they're wanting to do on the other side. And you don't have to do everything together. It's like you can split off and still do what you want to do, and everybody can do what they want to do. There's room enough there.
Now,
Yeah.
George, y'all went on to New Orleans after, right? So how long was that drive?
Is it like an hour and a half, something like that?
See, so there's a mortuary, a haunted mortuary out there in New Orleans. We could do that. We could make it like a 2 for a weekend, just spend
Right.
that
Actually, you could do a trifer because you could put the Gothic Jail on it too.
Yeah. I mean, we could do like a 3-day weekend, and yeah.
See that kind of thing, that would be awesome.
That's what I like to do.
Because when we went to, and I'm gonna tell you this, like, we wanted to of course get beignets at Cafe Dumont
Yeah.
and that kind of thing, but no, it didn't happen because the line was around the block, around, it was just
Insane.
like, yeah, it was insane. And like, we were in the French Quarter, and I don't know if y'all have been in the French Quarter before.
Oh yeah.
I wasn't real familiar with it, but there was nothing really about it for me. Like, I was driving, and forgive me for saying, I was like, oh, look, there are the balconies where the booby girls are, when they throw them the bees. And I'm like, yay, okay, I saw the balconies, yay. But around it, the area surrounding it was beautiful.
Yeah.
So let me just warn you about the French Quarter, though. On my last visit there, which has been a few years, we're walking the quarter, and then there's some like magic line, invisible line where you cross over, and that's where all the sex clubs are. And the women come out in their lingerie trying to get people, to come in. And so we're like, oh, okay, we're out of our element. So we turn back around. Well, my dad had gone just before we went, and he was bringing up that whole part of the quarter, and I'm like, yeah. And he's like, and did you see the gay sex clubs? And I'm like, Dad, how far did you walk? because we turned right back around, like we weren't trying to see all that. But you have to be careful because there were families in front of us, and we saw everybody just doing this 180 and running back out, and that's why, because
Right.
when you cross that line, the women come out in negligees and really skimpy, trying to get people to come in. So you had to be careful when you're walking the quarter.
Wow.
I don't know if that happened during the day. We were there during the day, so we were safe.
We were too.
Oh, nice. This was during the
I
day.
can't even imagine at night. It would just be off the chain at night.
So our friend Paula in Arizona has a question for you, Annette. Is anyone able to book staying at the plantation, or is it more or less for an entire group to rent it out?
You can rent in individual rooms. We just rented the entire house because we had enough of us to break up the cost to get the whole house. But you can absolutely book an individual room.
Is there a discount if you book all the rooms?
Nope. They don't give any kind of a price break, unfortunately.
Well, there you go.
They give some kind of break, but they don't.
It's worth it though, Paula.
Very much so. Very much so.
No, but what's funny is, to piggyback on George's story though of the beignet hunt, is we were sitting at I think, where was it? We were in Texas, and it was a Cracker Barrel. And we see the text in the chat group, no beignets. On the menu was a picture of beignets, so I took a photo of the menu photo of beignets and go, we got beignets.
That's funny. That's funny.
Oh God!
And I just outed myself because I was like, I took so much care to crop the photo so it looked like they were really on our table. I was like, we got some, and it was like, yeah, it was a photo off the menu.
But I tell you this, I mean, you of course you hear about Cafe Du Monde.
I know.
I mean, it's in the movies. Whoever saw Chef with Jon Favreau, Cafe Du Monde is there, and they talk about it, and everybody says they're amazing, and of course you want to try them, but I'm not standing in a line that long for little puffy things with powdered sugar on them,
They're good, but it's not all worth standing in line for all.
Yeah,
Really?
they're better homemade.
Well, all I know is that if you ask me, one place we did go, apparently there was a house that was used in that American Horror Story show
Oh yeah.
in New Orleans. We went to go see that house, and I was like, okay, this is cool because it's been in the show, but it's a house,
Yeah.
I mean, it's always cool to see stuff like that. But yeah,
Yeah.
I like New Orleans, but I like around the French Quarter, I guess.
Yeah, there's a lot more to it than just the quarter.
Oh yeah.
Paula, the rooms were around $300. So when we rented the whole house, we paid almost $2,000 because it's 6 rooms in the house. So it's a little pricey for the Myrtles, but if you can swing it, it's around $300.
Yeah.
And I think they do have a Facebook page, don't they?
Probably, I would think so. Yeah.
I don't know, but I would go back. I would absolutely go back.
I would definitely
And I
go
would-
back.
And I would still be afraid of bed though. I would, because you see the cloth folded over, and it's like, that's what the inside of a coffin looks like. No,
Yeah.
It's like, you're tricking me. No,
If
Well,
I go
I
back
love
and we draw lots and I get the winter's room again, I'd probably be like, okay, what can I do to sweeten the deal to change rooms with someone?
You could probably change people in the doll room. Probably wouldn't have a problem with that.
Yeah, that's
Right.
true.
But I have a lot of ideas and plans for road trips for next year. So maybe that's what we need to. I want to do the Stanley Hotel though after we do Gettysburg. It's kind of hard. There's a lot I want to do. I know,
Yeah.
right?
Ooh, dang, Howard.
Stanley Hotel.
Oh, Howard, I'm so sorry. I hope you're okay.
Yeah, Howard is he's running the network we're on right now, the Paranormal United Network. So our heart goes out to you and hope you're getting relief and getting better, Howard. I'll be in touch with you in a few days. I'll give you some time to rest.
Sending some positive energy to you, Howard, for sure.
That's
Paula, we totally agree with you, and Ned had the best room. Hey,
I
man.
would say yeah. I would say
But yeah, we need to put it
I
on
would
our
definitely
account.
Yeah.
You know, it almost would be interesting to do it the first weekend of March again, and seeing, if the activity that we were getting, like the flashlight experiment and everything, is repeatable, or if it's not, and try to see if it's the time frame or what that could be causing the activity we were getting.
We should go also consider going during like one of the anniversaries of the deaths that happened there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See if anything, with that.
Well,
Which, speaking of, what did y'all think about the story of Chloe being hung by the stairwell? That, to me, I was like, it didn't look like there was enough room.
I thought she was hung up from the outside.
I never even heard that story the first couple times I was there, so I don't know where that story came from.
Howard, I don't think we know how to behave.
No
Or is
promises.
that just behave your style?
I make no promises. Yeah, that story kind of surprised me because I don't recall them telling us that story on the tours when I was there the first couple of times. So I don't know. I'm not saying it's not true. I just didn't know about it.
Yeah. But I will say, as evidence goes, that photo that they show from the, I think, was it the kitchen area on the side of the house underneath where my room was? That photo's legit. There was like the fact that they thought they had one ghost, then zoom in and find like 2 or 3 more. I'm like, that's really cool. And that's legit to me because it's like, they just seem so genuinely surprised that there was more spirits there than they thought.
Well, and do you remember out near the caretaker's cottage when we were walking around outside, we were getting random EMF in the strangest places.
Yeah.
We weren't even next to anything. So we couldn't quite figure out where it was coming from.
Okay, have a good night, Paula, and thank you for rewatching it because, we talked about the Gothic Jail, Gray Cemetery, and Myrtles.
Yeah.
This was
a lot that weekend.
It was well worth it, though.
Yeah. I agree.
I'm surprised, George, you guys hadn't been there. I thought you guys had been there.
Maddie and I had talked about this for years. From when I very first met Maddie. I'm talking like 5 years. We've been talking about going. And let's just go. And it never happened. Well, let's just go. Let's just go. And it's like, it just would never, ever happen. And finally, thanks to Annette, thank you, Annette, you made Maddie and my dream come true. I mean, it was an amazing, amazing time. And it was I would do it again in a heartbeat. Absolutely, 100%.
So now that you've been, what's your next bucket list location?
Ooh, man.
Ooh.
Right?
I mean, you must have another one now.
The one I was telling you, that Brushy Mountain, I would love to go there. At that place, I don't know why. I don't know what it is about that place. I'm like, I mean, I've always wanted to go do the suicide forest in Japan.
Yeah.
At the base of Mount Fuji. But I just don't want to come across any dead bodies. You know what I mean? I'm like, no. I do not need to see any dead bodies.
Yeah, I mean, it does make you wonder, what is it about that? And when we go to Romania, to the Hoya Haunted Forest, there's some similarities in the forest. Not the suicides, but just the weird energy and things that happen within. I'm just kind of curious. I wouldn't mind going to the suicide forest also.
Right. I gotta say though, Annette, I am super jealous that you are getting to go to that spot because that is just on my radar, and I'm always like, why? Why is that
the Hoya Forest in Romania?
Why is that square like that? It's like,
isn't it so strange? Well, and originally the itinerary I had didn't include it. And then the group and I were talking about it. And so I reached out to the local suppliers and they were able to make it happen. So I'm forever grateful to them.
So what we're talking about, George, is there's a forest in Romania that is thick as get out. And in the center of it, is it the center?
I think it's like the center. Yeah.
There is a perfect square that no tree can grow in. But there's thick forest all around it.
I want to say I've heard of it, but I'm not. I don't want to lie and be like, yeah, I heard of it. But I want to say I've heard of something like that.
And someone might call it the Bermuda Triangle of Europe because people have disappeared in there.
Really? Uh-huh. And y'all are going there.
We signed up for it. Me. We're going on a tour, so only bring us back out.
For you, Annette. If you don't come back and you disappear there, who's going to run ghost and getaways?
That's going to be a problem. I figured we go in as a group, we come out as a group. Hey, I went to the Bermuda Triangle, nothing happened there, so maybe I'm okay.
I've actually sailed through that, so yeah.
All I know, like I said, I mean, I'm fine with the Brushy Mountain, and then who knows from there. There's places that I would like to go, but I'm going to say I enjoy doing a lot of the private investigation stuff. You know, I still like doing the private investigations, and honestly, I'm not really investigating as much as I used to. So I may be kind of coming to that point in my life where I'm like, I don't know if you retire as a paranormal investigator, but you definitely slow down. And I think I'm at that point.
Well, you know? I don't know. I mean, I guess anybody could retire from it, right? I mean, I don't know. For me, when I do the bigger trips, it's more about the destinations, but the investigations, you know, I'm all about the places there. But yeah, I don't know if I'll ever get to that point.
Yeah, I mean, there's always some place that'll catch your attention, and you're like, "Ooh, I need to go investigate there." And I think the day that stops happening is either the day we're moving to another country, or we're like, doomsday clock has reached the end of its time, and it's at 0.
There is one place that I would come out of retirement for. That would be Poveglia. That I would, the island off Italy.
Yeah.
Oh, the big island. Yeah.
There was a tour company that would take you out to the island for like 3 hours. But when I go to their website, it says they're not taking bookings because, I mean, as far as I know, no one's investigating or no one's getting out there right now. But for a period of time, there was a tour company that was allowed to take groups out there.
Yeah. I think there was an incident there and they shut it down.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
So if they ever reopen that, I'd be willing to go to Italy for that.
You know where I'd like to go? Y'all are going to think I'm crazy, but I've always... recently, like the last few years, I was like, this would be a cool place. Chernobyl.
Actually,
well, you could tour.
Agree with you.
You could tour some of those places around there. Yeah. Of course, not right now, but I mean, eventually, hopefully we can get back out there. But yeah.
Right. Yeah. Not now, but yeah.
Well, I would do it now on the grounds of, I mean, I'm sure you all remember the stories growing up through school going, there's so much radiation, nothing will grow there for thousands of years.
Oh, no, but there's a bunch of stuff growing.
Yeah, nature is taking it over. It's like, it's flourishing with life. And it's normal life. So I'm like, maybe, you know, the story is not so that it's 1,000 years, that it's okay now.
I mean, the pictures and video I've seen from TV shows, it's really quite haunting when you see just everything like that.
Yeah.
Did you ever see that one show with Josh Gates where they went to Chernobyl? And through the glass, they saw somebody with the FLIR camera. They saw somebody sitting at a table, and when they came around, there was nobody there.
Oh wow!
And people don't realize that 200, like I think it's like 200,000 people died because of that place. Maybe not instantly, but through cancer, through other things, they died because of the radiation that happened from Chernobyl. But then you see deer running through there, and you see Mother Nature taking it back.
And I remember that episode, George and like Josh was in all this radiation gear, and the deer jumps by, and he's like, and he has this look on his face like, why am I wearing all of this?
I think I'd still want
If
to wear
the deer is
it.
okay.
Yeah.
I think I'll still wear it. I'll pay for that extra.
Yeah. You know why I'd wear it? Just to keep the boys safe. You know, just to keep the guys downstairs safe. You know, yeah.
Seriously, I think I'd just pay extra for the gear. Plus, it'd be better for photos anyway, right? It'd look more dramatic.
Right.
Yeah, so people definitely know where you are. But
I hope they have like supersize.
One place that I would say equal to Chernobyl, George, that people have forgotten about, 3 Mile Island.
Oh yeah.
True.
Yeah. 3 Mile Island. I remember that.
Yeah.
That's crazy stuff. So
that's a lot closer to home too.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
I mean, I'm not saying, Chernobyl, I don't mean distance wise. I just mean it's like, man, that was like right off of our shore. And it was like, man, that really put a scare into the U.S.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. What about I mean, I'm always going to have an interest in the paranormal. Absolutely. Always going to have an interest. If somebody needed help with a case, I'd do it, I just don't know about I don't know. I mean, I'd always love to investigate someplace, especially someplace cool. But
I wonder if that brushy mountain in Tennessee, I wonder how close it is, like to Old South Pittsburgh or some of those other places out there. We could do a long weekend out there, and
that would be cool.
I mean, that's how I normally set up our longer ones. I usually do 2 places, and we rent them both for the whole weekend. We break up into halves, and then we swap on Saturday night, so everybody gets a chance at both places. And you don't have as many people. That's how we've done it before. Maybe we can do something so you can go to that penitentiary.
That'd be awesome. If we could,
yeah,
I'd be down.
Yeah.
Be like, sign me up.
But then we got to figure out about Gettysburg and Stanley Hotel next year. I don't know. There's so many things.
And Sharpsburg. If you're doing Gettysburg, you should throw Sharpsburg in there.
True. Yeah. I mean, there's just so many places.
Yeah. Yeah, so many places, so many times.
Yeah, I was surprised. I was like, I've heard of Sharpsburg, but then I was like, I'd go through and I'm like, I never heard of a battle in Sharpsburg. And I'm looking through all the papers, all my books, and there's no Civil War battle Sharpsburg. And then somebody put on there, Antietam, and it was Sharpsburg Hospital. And I was like, oh, Antietam, that I know.
Oh, huh.
Well, if you're going to Sharpsburg, maybe Lynchburg, Tennessee, we could get some Jack Daniels, or what is it?
Go to Kentucky, get some bourbon, right? I mean, whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, Jack did die, so, it's quite possible, his winery or distillery is haunted.
You never know. There's a lot of places out there. But I bet, George, we looked at a map together, we could find something else for a long weekend out there.
Actually,
That'd be cool.
I found at a gas station the best map you could ever find. It's a laminated map of the U.S. And you can sit there and draw road map trips out on it and sit there and be like, okay, so this is off of this highway, this connects to here, so I could do this in 2 days, or 3 days and do perfect road trips, and then you just
Well,
wipe it off and make the next one.
Yeah,
I,
we could figure it out.
I'd be down. Just I'm also. I think I said like I'd be down for Gettysburg and that one that y'all had been talking about.
That one's going to be in April.
Yeah, in April of next year.
Yeah.
How fast does
Well,
that
of course.
book out?
I'm sorry.
What was that?
Go ahead, George.
No, I just said I'm sorry. Of course, April of next year. Duh.
I know
I
who
was
you're
asking.
for.
Yeah, I was asking how fast does that one book out to, like, do we need to start making reservations now?
Yeah, actually, I left a message with the hotel today because he was going to give us a group rate, and but I need to figure out. I wrote down in my notebook somewhere how many rooms because I'm trying to max it out at a certain number because we're planning on investigating the Jenny Wade house and the orphanage, and so I don't want to have more people than we can fit in because those places are small.
Right.
So I need to calculate how many rooms I need total because everybody had commented on the post, or a lot of people did. But that's all I need to do is, and then he said we could start booking, and then whatever rooms we didn't need, I could release those like 30 days before or something, our actual arrival date. But I think we're going to fill up all the rooms that we allocate.
Yeah, I don't see you having available rooms come investigation time.
Yeah, because we decided on, the Jenny Wade house, like I said, and the orphanage, and then also what's the name of that bridge that's supposed to be haunted out there. So we figured if we did like a Thursday, Friday, Saturday, all three of those places, the bridges are free to go out there. So it's just paying for the other places, but they're pricey and they're small, so we can't fit a lot of people into them.
Right.
So that's where it's kind of complicated because I'm trying to keep it affordable for everybody, but don't want to have
Right.
I think one place is only like, what is it, 500 square feet? It's not very big.
Yeah, because they're
Wow,
old.
yeah, that's tiny.
Yeah, in the old days, they didn't pay for extras. They paid by the square foot, so you didn't waste rooms. You built just what you needed.
Yeah.
But,
So I just noticed we're at an hour and a half mark.
Oh, wow.
And so before I cut everybody loose, I want to give a chance, I'll start with George. Where can people find you, and what are you up to online, like, to promote?
I do no promoting. I let Maddie do all that because I am terrible about being on Facebook or any place else. We do, of course, Maddie and I do our Maggie Talking Smack. If you want to find her or I, you could go to that Facebook page. And that's all that we really have. We thought about trying other things, but really it's just the Maggie Talking Smack Facebook pages where they can find us and watch our shows and do whatever, that kind of thing.
And they're funny. I
They are.
I like watching.
I enjoy being on them and watching them.
Thank you.
See, George, you did great promoting. And
Awesome.
then there's Annette. So
Yeah,
where can everyone find you?
You can find me at Ghosts and Getaways. That's my web address. That's my Facebook. That's my TikTok. That's all of it. You can find me at Ghosts and Getaways. And just, I book some trips that everybody can go on. So if you want to come out, if there's spots available, you can join us. It's just, I'm trying to plan them in different places around the U.S. so we can have some variety.
Yeah. And I gotta say, I've done now 2, I think, with you, Annette. They're always amazing, full of great information, really well put together, and worth checking out. So much so that on my event where we're going back to the Dillon Depot, I even tagged your site because I know you may be going back. So those that can't, because you got to keep it limited, it's like keep an eye out because you may be going back and they can catch it then.
Yeah, that place we could do, absolutely a few times because it's just not big enough to really take a lot of people. But yeah, we had a great time, didn't we? We had a
We
good stuff.
did. I mean, what's better than starting with ice cream or like a float or something that's homemade? I'm talking homemade right
Homemade
there on
ice
the
cream.
spot. And then walking around the town, walking it off, getting history and ghost stories, and then coming back and finding a whole bunch of stuff. And so, one thing I'm going to point out about the Dillon Depot that may catch your attention, George, and make you want to come is Annette put a REM pod on the floor. And when we came by later that evening, we were upstairs. We never went downstairs yet. And I looked, and Annette came around the corner, and because we were talking about a giggle or something, or whistle. We were talking about the whistling we heard. The REM pod moved, but never went off. And we were like, that's an impossibility. Come to find out, I could move it with my shoe slightly if I was at the right angle. So we rotated to put the antenna in that right angle spot. So if they moved it again, we would hear it.
Right. Yeah, that's crazy that it would have that kind of glitch or something.
And it didn't go off, but on the audio, when I was listening, when we heard that scream, you can hear, and it sounds like it's because I had my audio running next to the REM pod. You can hear something slide. So I'm thinking that's when the REM pod was moved.
Okay.
Yeah. Now the second night, Jennifer put a camera up and we did the same thing. And we thought it had moved, but I had put some stuff around it to kind of border it so if it moved, I could tell.
Yeah.
And it didn't feel like one of them had moved, so it had shifted in one direction. But I'm hoping when Jennifer looks at her video footage that she'll see whatever happened. But it was in the apartment. And just for kicks, I'm going to tell y'all that the embalming room downstairs is now the clean room where they make the ice cream, just so you know.
Yum. It gives it that
special with a little cider formaldehyde.
And a fun fact that I took a photo of it and I just pointed out to Annette is they have like a whole bunch of Dr. Pepper cans and he's got a Dr. Pepper truck. They actually had blue Dr. Pepper cans.
Oh, yeah. I forgot.
I was like, I had never seen a blue Dr. Pepper can.
I hadn't either. Even when we investigated the Dr. Pepper Museum, I never saw any blue ones in their place. I don't know.
Crazy. It sounds like time.
Yeah. I mean, it's in your situation, George, traveling up from where you guys are, there actually is probably like 2-3 minutes away, if they could book it, is the Liberty Hotel. So because I would be ending the investigation at 2 a.m., you could then go to the Liberty Hotel, which is supposed to be haunted on the third level. You'll hear about it on the Ghost Walk tour.
It's nice inside. We stayed there
double. You could investigate the depot and then go investigate the hotel.
Remember, Tracy said the Liberty was going to go on auction.
Well, yeah, but I don't think it was before. I think it was around August that it was going.
Oh, was it August? Okay. Yeah, if you can stay up there, I mean, if you can do that, because the Liberty, I stayed in there like 6-7 months ago, and it's beautiful in there. They really did it. The guy that redid it years ago really did a good job on it. But they have stories all over the building.
I know it's going to be open because Carla's team is going to be investigating there the end of September, first weekend of October.
If it goes on auction in August, I don't know.
Well, that's just it. I'm like, they've booked, and so I would think they're obligated to, if they haven't told her, to, be like, hey, you got to honor, you took our money and booked it.
You might want to mention it to her because I didn't know about it going up for auction until Tracy said something.
Yeah.
Well, Tracy will know when it goes on auction.
Yeah, we can talk to her about it in July. She'll probably have a more updated. So, George, the thing with Tracy is she's trying to bring life back into the city of Cleburne.
Okay.
And she's doing it by bringing her ghost walk up and going to buildings and sharing the history of the buildings to help bring people in so that they go and shop is the intention, and bring, people in, and whether they're paranormal investigators or not, it's still a fun place to get some really cool history.
Right. That's cool. I mean,
Yeah.
history is awesome. I mean, I don't like when they asked me if I wanted to go on the tour. I actually opted out just because there I didn't want to know. But there are other places, yeah, you want to know about the history and whatnot that goes on. So
And the
yeah,
Cleburne tour is really good. And she's better than most of the others. I've gone tours on all the cities I visit, but hers is better than most.
that's awesome. I have to go check it out.
Yeah, and one of the things that's funny is you would think doing the ghost walk, everything, is scripted, so everything flows and everything. She runs a ghost app, and her partner, is it Jacob? Runs an app. And so they're constantly going and telling each other, oh, the spirits are saying this or that. And she'll tell you what app they're running so you can run it too. And if you get stuff, she's like, oh, well, now we have this. And she does it really well and tries to include everyone.
That's cool. That's cool. Absolutely.
Yeah. So I know it's late, so I appreciate you guys coming on. And I'm going to say shameless plug because I've been on your show a couple of times and looking forward to coming back. You can always catch George and Maddie at Mad G Talking Smack.
Definitely go watch them.
And keep an eye out on Ghosts and Getaways because Annette puts on phenomenal ghost adventures. So if you're new or, wanting to get into it some more or find new places, check her out because she's going all over.
She's worldwide.
It's fun what to do. Yep. So some of my trips I'm just scouting out, but yeah, come find me. Everyone's welcome.
Yeah, so thank you again for coming on and helping to share about our trifecta weekend adventure. I know I originally said we were going to do Myrtles, but I felt like we couldn't do justice to Myrtles without mentioning the other places we went.
Right.
So thank you all. And next week, come back for another exciting episode when Parapost's creator, Brian John Laverty, will be on. That'll be a fun episode. So everyone, I hope you have a wonderful week, a wonderful weekend, and we'll see you next week. And if you go out and investigate, have fun.
Bye, everybody.
You have just listened to the energy that surrounds us with your hosts, Michael Koff and Carla Norris. Be sure to tune in next week for our next episode.
I love your intro and your closing. That's so cool.